And we have made ourselves accountable at national and international platforms to ensure we fulfill our commitments the best we possibly can. This forum is also crucial because there's a lot of evidence that shows that there is still a lot of work for us to do. Evidence such as the high rates of violence against women, the lack of sex disaggregated data to inform sound policies across the various sectors of the economy, the large margin of difference in women's political leadership, the lack of women's equal participation in decision-making from community to organizational levels, the need to further improve women's economic participation. This forum is crucial because we as a nation have taken huge strides in the area of women's empowerment and gender equality, be it in legislative reform, national policies and guidelines on mainstreaming gender, responding to gender-based violence involving women in climate change, integrating the empowerment of women in our national development plan, economic empowerment programs to promote women in small micro-enterprise businesses, innovatively strengthening social protection programs to make them inclusive, or be it establishing networks and partnerships or engaging with women's organizations to protect and harness the interests of Fijian women. Fiji surely has a lot to share about the progress we are making in this area. Most of all, a forum such as this is crucial because we owe it to our women to give them a life free from discrimination, violence, and unequal treatment, and this being a cross-cutting agenda that requires mainstreaming across the board, mandates the involvement of all of us to review our progress because identifying the challenges that are holding us back is the best way forward. By the end of the morning session today, we would have appointed a steering committee for the BPA to see to a national level review of our progress as a nation in terms of women's empowerment and gender equality. You will be aware that Fiji is a signatory to CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And last year, we participated in the constructive dialogue around the fifth state report. While we align a lot of our work with CEDAW, we're also guided by other important instruments that Fiji is a party to, which is what brings us together this morning. The Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, or the BPA, is a landmark document for advancing the rights of women and gender equality worldwide, and was agreed to during the 4th World Conference on Women in 1995. 17,000 participants and 30,000 activists from around the world convened in Beijing with a single purpose in mind: gender equality and the empowerment of all women everywhere. The international community came to a consensus and agreed to a comprehensive blueprint of commitments supporting the full development of women and their equality with men in 12 areas of concern: women and poverty, education and training of women, women and health, violence against women, women and armed conflict, women in the economy, women in power and decision-making, institutional mechanisms for the advancement of women, human rights of women, women in the media, women and the environment, and the girl child. The BPA affirmed the principles that would govern actions and strategies for women and firmly set in place an agenda for empowering women by integrating their concerns in national plans and policies. Governments who are party to the BPA have agreed to promote gender mainstreaming as a strategy to ensure that the gender perspective is reflected in all policies and programs at the national, regional, and international level. Fiji submitted the progress report on the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action and the outcomes of the 23rd Special Session of the General Assembly in 2000. In partnership with Pacific Island countries with the support of the Secretariat of the Pacific Communities, SPC. It provided an overview of the major achievements and challenges since the passage of the BPA in 1995, updates on the 12 BPA areas of concern, as well as emerging issues. This year, Fiji is set to submit the BPA Plus 25 Progress Report, which shall include an assessment of current challenges that affect the implementation of the agreement enshrined in the BPA. It shall also highlight major achievements on gender equality and empowerment of women and its contribution towards the full realization of the 2030 Agenda. The report is due on May 1st, 2019. And through the coordination of the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, as the National Women's Machinery for Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, this participatory process has been put in place for the development of Fiji's national BPA Plus 25 progress report. So far, we have been having meetings, consultations, and other related activities to facilitate the drafting and submission of the BPA Plus 25 progress report in accordance with the guidance notes produced by UN Women. The Ministry acknowledges the submissions of organizations, individuals, and agencies within the public and private sectors in response to the 40 review questions also provided by the UN Regional Commission and UN Women. These submissions will be instrumental in identifying the major gaps and discrepancies which government will need to look into closely, and also strengthen the work and implementation of the national gender policy in the ministry and within the government machinery. At this juncture, I wish to say that the ministry is fortunate that we have a lot of expertise in this room. Expertise that's been there for decades. And this is such a golden opportunity to bring out all that you know about the process that we are in right now. Put your expertise in and help us all as a nation to put our progress report forth as per the deadlines that have been set. We also have a National Gender Advisor, Merak, and I'm thankful for her timely involvement in the work that we are carrying out in the ministry for the nation as a whole. We thank DFED also for the support that has enabled us to have our gender advisor in-house. We are now in the process of engaging a writer consultant to assist in the consolidation of Fiji's review on the implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action Plus 25 report. This national level review should assess progress made in the implementation of policies and programs aimed at achieving gender equality and women's empowerment and identify challenges encountered. It should take stock of achievements, identify gaps and setbacks, and outline strategies for addressing those gaps and challenges. It should also result in renewed commitment and clear sets of priority action with timelines, actors, and resources for implementation. And it has been recommended that the reviews of this nature should align and build synergies with work on the 2030 agenda and galvanize its gender-responsive implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beijing Platform for Action imagines a world where each woman and girl can exercise her freedoms and choices and realize all her rights, such as to live free from violence, to go to school, to participate in decisions, and to earn equal pay for equal work. The Beijing process unleashed remarkable political will and worldwide visibility, and locally we realized it through the implementation of the Women's Plan of Action and the progressive budget allocation towards the national women's machinery to do this. To conclude, the BPA has connected and reinforced the activism of women's movements on a global scale, and since then, governments, civil society, and the public have translated the BPA's promises into concrete changes in individual countries, including ours. These collaborative efforts have ushered in enormous improvements in women's lives. More women and girls than at any previous point in time serve in political offices, are protected by laws against gender-based violence, and live under constitutions guaranteeing gender equality globally, and we can be proud as a nation to have led this change in the Pacific. Regular 5-year reviews of progress on fulfilling BPA commitments have sustained momentum, and we shall keep the momentum going. May I emphasize that every stakeholder in this room has an important role to play, and I encourage you to be critical and diligent in executing the task you have at hand today. With these words, I wish you all the very best for your deliberations during the day, and I thank you again most sincerely for taking time out to be part of this very important process. Good night.